Welcome to Planning Phase Syndicate Star Wars Unlimited Edition. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We have an amazing Episode 7 planned for you. And folks, don't let Episode 7 scare you. We are not new to the podcast game. We have other podcasts that we stream for X-Wing that you can check out right here on YouTube or on your podcast catcher. With that being said, thank you all for joining us tonight. It is a Memorial Day weekend. I have played a lot of Unlimited and felt like, hey, why don't we just go ahead and cast anyway? We got spoilers to do, and we have all sorts of crazy stuff that we need to catch up on. If that isn't enough, we decided that we're going to bring our Academy training segment right back, and what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about each deck for the archetype, how to counter it, how to play for it, all of that different type of fun jazz, and why Spark of the Rebellion is the best card in the whole game, and Alex will confirm it here for you in a few minutes. With that being said, let me bring my co-host for the night in. Please welcome the benchwarmer himself, Mr. Palpatine. How are you tonight, sir?
Oh, I'm doing well. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to play too much Unlimited this week, just a little bit earlier on. Ran a red chair attack. That's always super fun. Did some dirty things with that.
Yeah, I bet that force throw, I bet you love that force throw in that chariot deck. Holy crap.
And I was going against an Iden Blue and I have K2SO, and he kill K2SO, and I'm like, I'm not doing 3 damage to your base. You dump a card out of your hand, you're a control deck. And then I force through the other one, and you just no cards for most of the game.
Yep, I know how that goes. Had that happen to me today when I was playing Mono Yellow Boba. Also joining us tonight is JJ, I don't understand why he still wears that hat. How are you tonight, sir?
Doing all right. Coming to you live from a very noisy household. I had to make an emergency trip out to Florida. I actually wanted to go out and play at the Store Champ that was being played today, along with several of the Florida members here in Orlando, but unfortunately I wasn't able to make it. But that did not stop me from playing a ton of SWU. I was testing out a couple of new decks. I was doing a double blue Iden. I was doing a green Sabine deck, and just playing a lot with my brother and my family, just testing out new decks. I got to go out and buy a bunch of newer cards that I didn't have to include them into my collection. So yeah, just excited to add them in and make new decks.
So that sounds fun. What did you end up buying that you didn't have?
A couple of copies of stuff I didn't have. A Han Solo card that I needed. A copy of Avenger. A copy of Bendu and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and a couple other cards I can't remember off the top of my head, but they were for like $2 a piece. So I mean, it wasn't too bad.
Fair enough. Yeah, so this weekend I played in 2 store showdowns, almost 3. I almost had 3, but I couldn't quite make the third one. So I played in 3 of them. I was supposed to go to Lansing today, and I felt bad because I actually woke up this morning and did not feel like going anywhere. I couldn't fall asleep last night, and I was just staying up forever. And so I was like, oh, maybe I just won't go do anything today. And I ended up going to a second store showdown anyway, because I guess why not? What else are you going to do with your day other than chores, right? So it kind of got me out of doing chores. It's my birthday weekend, so it was kind of fun. So I played in 2 store showdowns yesterday. I played in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and played Pelp Red because I was like, I'm going to give Pelp Red another shot. Ended up making top 4. I had a loss to a green ECL Luke deck. And the guy was a very, very good player because usually I don't lose to the Lukes, but the ECL does throw that off a little bit because if they could a unit before I can use it to kill theirs, it makes it really hard. And the guy, so the first game I handily took. The second game was not. We played like a 35-minute game or something like that. It was crazy. It was like a very long game, and basically he won it in the very end. And it came right down to the wire for that one. So then we had 10 minutes or less than 10 minutes to run our last game. And I didn't think about it. This guy must have paid attention to what I was saying because I was like, yeah, I run power failure for the chariot decks. And like 2 games, he did not build his Luke up, any of his things up. And all of a sudden, here comes Wing Leader Luke. Give Luke a lightsaber. I'm like, oh, man. And I didn't cite in power failure. So that was my one Swiss loss for that. And then I played against a control Tarkin deck, which was different. It's very weird that it was a blue Tarkin deck that just wanted to still be aggro. And it didn't care if you board wiped because it just like would flood the board the next round. Like, I mean, that guy went through like all of his deck. Not all of it, but a lot of his deck. It's like, holy crap. And man, I'll tell you what, you cannot sleep on those stupid Tarkin ties. Like, you know how many times you just ignore the tie and then you don't do anything and then all of a sudden it's out of open fire range and you're like, oops, that was a mistake.
That's what your traitorous is for, sir.
Yeah, well, I did use the traitorous a couple of times, and then, of course, they could get rid of the traitorous upgrade to get the thing back. But that was actually what won me the last game. The first game I took, the second game, I couldn't draw correctly, and he was able to flood the board before I had 0 overwhelming barrages, just none, and nothing to board wipe, and he was able to get a bunch of units out. And then the last game, he had a 4, like a 2 experienced TIE fighter that had the thing, and that was the only unit he had on the board. I still had 5 resources. I had an overwhelming barrage, and I had a traitorous in my hand. And I think he just got antsy, and he just claimed because like he only needed 4 damage, and so I traitorous his unit. So then he had no units on board. He's like, "Oh, I bet that lost me the game." I was like, "Yeah, it probably did." Yep. And then the next turn he put something down. And I throw Pelp down, right? And then all I had to do was swing in a couple times, and that it was game. So that one I probably was a little bit harder. I had a misplay where I didn't resource one round, I believe, and that was a mistake because I accidentally forgot. And then I did the same thing. No, that was my Vader Green game in the final. Sorry, that was my Vader Green game. I played the first game. I forgot to resource one round and took Pelp out, took one of his guys, and then all of a sudden went to play something and realized I didn't have enough resources, so we had to wind it back a little bit. I was like, "Oops, sorry. Yep, that sucks." So I lost that game, and then the last game came down to the final turn, and I miscounted, which I don't think there's anything I could do. I didn't have any answers in hand, but the last game was basically decided by, one swing versus the other swing. I had a Devastator down. I had all the damage on his base. He had an ECL base, so it was literally just I needed 9 damage, and I miscounted it on my base. Claimed, but again, it didn't matter because I didn't have like an open fire or anything I could do to kill his other unit, so he just had to swing in. And I'll tell you, Veers. I guess if Veers goes down, either steal Veers or kill Veers. There's no other option. Like on both of our sides, like it was Veers was just way too impactful. So
yeah, Veers can get pretty nasty if like you're not like that +1/+1 really makes trades not trade.
Yeah. And then today, so I went top 4 there, and then scrubbed out right in the finals or the top 4, and then today I decided to go. We went up to Muskegon to play, which I always like going up to Muskegon. I always like that store up there. Griffin's Rest is a really great store. We played a bunch of X-Wing up there before. The guy that runs it's super nice. And so I decided to play mono yellow Boba. And just because I had that built and I didn't feel like playing Pelp for 2 days in a row. And I ended up in the top 4 and then ended up in the finals. So my final was against a yellow Boba. So it was a yellow Boba matchup. And yeah, if he draws better than you, you just don't win. But everybody's saying that is literally a coin flip. Whoever goes first wins. That is 100% not true. Even if you have identical decks, it's all in how you draw. Because he won the coin flip. I won game 1 handily. The second game, I lost pretty handily. Like, he was able to wipe my board and then still do damage to base constantly. And then the third game, I was down. It came down to 4 health. He had a surprise strike, and was able to do the 7 damage he needed versus me just claiming and being able to do it next turn. So yeah, so that was a fun day. A lot of SWU, I guess. I haven't played that much. So 4 rounds each day plus a round of cut each day, and then today it was 2 rounds of cut. So
sounds fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of SWU. We'll just put it that way. So, yeah. So we have a pretty good show tonight. We have some spoilers that we're gonna go through. I I didn't realize. I think I titled the title wrong. Spark of Rebellion edition. Just I don't know if I did that for Alex or not, but
Wasn't me, man.
it's your favorite card, right? It's your favorite card. My son actually ran it, and he ran Yellow Boba yesterday, and he did put that in there yesterday, and he used it. He used it all the time. I don't know. To me, it felt like in that deck, it feels like a tempo kill, but he kept saying, "Well, you should just put it in your Pulp deck," and I was like, "No, I'm good. I'm not gonna pay 6 resources to discard 1 card. I think I'll just take the power or the whatever what's that one? The one cost Force Throw. There you go. I played a Chirrut Red deck today, and that was crazy. They did a Force Throw on themselves to dump a redemption to kill my Boba, and I was like, "Oh,
Wow.
oh, that's sad."
Wow.
Yeah, the self-force throw is a legitimate thing. It is. Well, I don't need this card, and I will just one-shot whatever I'm dumping.
Yep, that's what it was, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh." Well, all right, you guys want to do spoilers first? Do we do spoilers first this week since there's some cool stuff that came out? Yeah. All right, cool. We're gonna hit our Galactic Gazette, bringing you the spoilers of the week. All right, here is our Galactic Gazette. We're going to start with the leader spoilers. I put them at the top because I have to do them right away. We have to get them out of the way. I don't care. I'm gonna give Alex the pick tonight. Which leader do you want to spoil? Because both of them are coming in hot. And in Destiny, they were a set. They were a pair. They're not a pair anymore, but they're here to stay. Alex, what one do you want to choose tonight?
Well, I know JJ wants Rey, so I'll do Kylo.
All right.
Kylo is a red-black leader. He's a rare. As an action, you can exhaust him and then discard a card from your hand. If you do, you give a unit +2/+0 for this phase. And when he flips and comes out on 4, just like Sabine, we got another one. He's a 5/4. He gets -1/-0 for each card in your hand. So if you have no cards, he's a 5/4 on 4 resources as a leader you just deployed, which is terrifying. If you have a hand of like 6 cards, though, I don't know why you brought him out.
Why are you bringing him out? So he's also, you notice he's a rare leader, right? So he won't be as much in draft. I don't know if you want him in draft or not, but some of me actually thinks you kind of do want him in draft a little bit. And like my theory on this leader is that you don't deploy him when you hit 4 resources. You're not doing that. You're using him as more of a late game, because I think his other side is like a lot better. But you're gonna have to play him a lot better than people play IG-88, because I will tell you right now, I literally, if I play IG-88 and I'm playing red, I just hold open fire. I mulligan for it and I hold it until you bring your leader out and I kill your leader. Then that same turn, I don't care. I will literally just sit there and wait for you to do that. I don't care if I do nothing else that game, but kill your leader. That's what I will do.
Yeah, I mean, it's
so currently right now, as far as discards right now, for like making sure that you like have 0 cards, right? Like doing 2 discards per turn. What do we have? Is it just black 1 right now?
Oh, you'll see. I mean, FFG did say they do want to give some like discard support to red, and you'll see with his silencer later on how that's going to work.
Force throw. We just talked about.
But also,
throw.
You can force throw yourself.
Yep. Yeah.
There's a couple other like red cards that are a little bit like that. But yeah, I mean, like if you play super fast, like really, really, really aggressive, you can just rush people down with this card, honestly. Like even if they're like kind of controlling things, you can go super wide with this. And there's a little bit of card draw in red. Anyways.
Yeah, my main concern for Kylo is just his health, right? 4 health. There are quite a few cheaper units that can be deployed early at 4 costs that can wipe out Kylo in one shot. That's my main concern for Kylo. But beyond that, I am interested to see how it'll play out with the rest of like discard stuff. Obviously, you do want to give Kylo some sort of buff so that he has a little bit more health or at least a shield. But yeah, I mean, if you have no cards in your hand by what turn 3, that could be a really big swing into your enemy.
Yeah,
He is a force unit too, so like if you give him like a faulted lightsaber, he's a 8/7.
yeah,
Turn 4, like you could do that on the same turn. You'll deploy him. It's a little bit risky, but deploy him, give him a lightsaber. And
Yeah.
do you think they'll have like a Kylo's lightsaber,
Yes.
a Rey's lightsaber?
sure.
in this?
yes.
Yeah,
I bet you they're going to be
It's-
freaking legendaries too.
yeah.
That's what this set is all about, upgrades, right? And to me, this feels like we're gonna get a, we're gonna get like at least one of them. I would not be surprised if we got a Kylo lightsaber, that is like a legendary. I don't know, Kylo with that fallen Jedi lightsaber or the fallen whatever it is. That's pretty good. I think that's a pretty good lightsaber. I don't know. You could almost put Vader's lightsaber on him too, like if you needed to. It does give him that 1 extra health, but then he swings for the 4 6. Can you put 2 lightsabers on? You can, because there's no upgrade limit.
As long
isn't?
as they're not unique, like Vader's. You can't do double Vader's.
Sure. Man, could you imagine a fallen and a Vader's lightsaber on a Kylo? I hope somebody doesn't have a power of the dark side or something, I guess.
Yeah, or still a takedown, right? When you play one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I still think I think this. I originally was pretty down on this guy. I'm not super sold on the Kylo thing as much, but I do feel that we might. This might be better than what we originally looked at, and I mean, he fits into my villain scheme. I like villain red as it is, so for me, it kind of fits into there. Like I could tell you in draft or in Twin Suns, it's going to be super fun to put him in. Like that's going to be a super fun Twin Suns deck to run, but I don't know. It's pretty good, I think.
I mean, you can always use them with Palpatine returns too, right?
Yep, you can, 100%.
But yeah, I mean, I'm
That's
sure there's
Yep.
going to be other like support cards for this because I mean they released one and you're just like, oh yeah, no, that's fine. That's going to be scary. That is a good card. So
All right, let's move on to Rey. How about that? Let's hit some Rey. JJ, what is some Rey coming up here?
All right, so she's a blue and hero aspect leader here. Her action costs 1 resource and you exhaust her. Gives an experience token to a unit with 2 or less power, and then you can deploy her once you have 6 or more resources. Then on her flip side, as a leader unit, she has 2 attack and 6 health. And has Restore 3, which is really, really good. And then her ability is on attack. You may give an experience token to a unit with 2 power or less for this one here. Really excited to see her play, probably with a red deck to complement her. And the reason for a red deck is because you tend to have a lot of raid units on there that come in with low attack power, but get that buff once they start attacking there. I mean, I would definitely play her with like a lot of Benthic 2 tubes, a lot of some of those smugglers that come in with raid green squadron A wings. They will all get a really nice buff from Rey, giving those ships experience points on there, and then even buff that up with wing leader in your faction. I mean, that's some really nice combos there with Rey.
So I know Moment of Peace is not really a great card, but can you imagine playing a Moment of Peace, giving Rey a shield, and then using Rey's ability to give her an experience token, and then using Rose Tico to kill the shield and give her 2 more experience points, and now you have a 6/6 leader.
well, the experience also bumps up the health. Don't forget about that. It's actually
Okay, yep.
auxiliary.
6/9.
Now-
Yep.
So, question on this one, right? Because she can give it to herself, obviously, because she's a 2 attack as well. When you're factoring in a unit with 2 or less power, is it printed power or total power?
Total power. Yeah.
Total power. Okay, so she
she
can
can
only
only
do
give
it
it to
once to
once.
herself. Yeah. Okay.
Which I think is okay. Like, I mean, I think that's fine.
That's fair. Yeah, it's balanced, so that way she doesn't just like constantly get stronger every turn.
Could you imagine? Yeah, if she could just continue to give herself, it would be like the 97th Legion all over again, except for as a leader.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine then you ready her again with another ability, attack somebody else, and just make yourself stronger again and again. Yeah, broken.
Yeah, I mean, Restore 3 is so good. That is so strong. And I mean, Red doesn't seem too bad because they do have like keep fighting, right? So you ready another unit with 3 or less power. There's a bunch of cool combos you can do with her, but man, that Restore is just so like Luke, legendary Luke unit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the best legendary so far. And most of that is just the Restore 3 because that just swings games so hard. Just healing like that is crazy.
Yep, I watched somebody play a Chewy ECL today.
Oh,
and they ended up 2-2, but only because the third game was, or the fourth game, they did a roll off for the last game because they only had 5 minutes left to play a game. But I will tell you that that like Chewy and like some of these other things, I have that, and then being able to put that Luke down, and then Luke just is like, here, screw you, and I don't know, like Restore 3 is so amazing, and especially if you cannot kill Rey. And like if you think about it, her idea is she's going to have lower cost units and lots of, so she's going to be able to avoid some of the stuff except for Super Laser Blast, right? Like Super Laser Blast will just kill anything, but and Alex had 7 of those cards or something like that. So
six of my first 11 legendaries with Super Laser Blast. You know, that's fine. It is worth noting, actually, JJ, she is not a rebel, so like Wing Leader wouldn't work, and a couple of the rebels' energies wouldn't. But she has Fringe, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if there could be any Fringe synergies in there. Yeah, and obviously she's also a Force. So I'm wondering what their units are going to be, because I'm assuming like you got to have a Kylo and a Rey unit, right?
You would assume so, but I don't know. I mean,
they're like the main characters of the movies. Like everyone else has those cards.
I would assume so too, and I think that's going to be even worse.
I mean, I guess like Leia doesn't, but
yes, Leia does. Leia's got a card. She's got a unit.
Oh, she does. Yeah.
Never
mind. Yeah, that's a really good card too. I use that a lot.
Yes. Yeah, like how do you not remember Leia? Leia's great in Han. Like, oh well, dude, have a nice life. Or have a resource back.
Oh man, the amount of times like I've punished people running double aspect who are just like, I'm gonna give this person +4. And I'm like, I'm gonna exhaust that person with Leia.
Yep.
Yeah.
Leia's good. I like Leia. Anyway, we're sidetracked. I think Rey actually has. I feel there's more potential for Rey than there is for Kylo, but I also understand that Rey or that villain doesn't have a very strong aggro presence per se. That does really well. IG-88 sucks. So I'm just gonna leave it there. You know, Bono Yellow Boba is probably the closest thing to aggro that we have right now, and I don't even know how long that's gonna be like around. We don't know if there's enough cards that really messes with that. Next set, that's the Smuggle really is going to change the dynamic of all these cards. Like, I think Smuggle for the win, and like I think that's what we're going to have to focus on, and hence why I like Hondo. But anyway, let's move on to the next set. I'm going to go first tonight because I won a bunch of shit this weekend, so I feel like I get to go first, and I'm going to pick a new adventure because it is a double yellow, and it is got the iconic C-3PO and R2-D2 on it. Though R2-D2 looks like he's like somebody's on an acid trip. That's what this looks like. Like R2-D2's like,
does look like he's melted a little bit.
Yeah, like C-3PO somehow got acid. I don't know how. They're all on a trip. But it is a uncommon. It is a 2-cost. It is a Gambit card, which I like Gambit cards a lot, and I hope we get a character that does something with Gambit. That like calls out Gambit as a key thing. But I like that this is a double yellow card, and that's why I want to take it, because I'm very excited for that. And it's return a leader unit that costs 6, a non-leader unit that costs 6 or less to its owner's hand. Then its owner may play it for free. So here, let me ambush. Yeah, let me ambush Bosk and then ready 2 resources, and then play this and pull Bosk back up and ambush him a second time into somebody. I don't know. Seems pretty good. Or here, let me Cantina Bouncer do the same thing, ready some resources, and I don't know. Like, I like it. I think it's good. But I'm also excited because I want to know if we can get a Han yellow, like double yellow Han, to like actually be a viable decker. Like, I don't think it is, but we'll see. But this card really makes things awesome.
Yeah, and there's a fair amount of like when played stuff in yellow, even in the new set, right? Like I mean, you had the Falcon, right? That's the new Falcon, Lando's Falcon, that has like the ambush, and it's cost 6 or less, so you can just like drop it. It's a 5/5 with ambush, swing into something, play this, and swing into something again. I mean, you got like various like the upgrade removal stuff. Like you got the Criminal Muscle, right? That's got that when played, remove an upgrade. And like Bodhi, classic Bodhi, rip a card out of the hand, play him again. He's only 3 resources.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this card is disgusting. Or if you have like a super crazy opponent like card where it's just so upgraded, like maybe a Boba Fett unit, right? That's got like Bulba's armor and like another Mandalorian armor. It's got like 6 upgrades on their shield and all that kind of stuff. You can just like bounce it back to hand, especially if they didn't attack yet, and just sets them back a little bit on tempo.
Yeah, that seems really good too, right? Like that seems like insanely good for the cost. This just seems really good. Like it's a 2 cost. This is 2 cost.
And Dr. Eva-san, if he loses his shield, you don't want him out there all the time.
Yeah, there you go. True, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a bunch of really cool things you can do with this card. I like this card a lot, and it's probably even worth it playing it for 4.
Ooh, that's a hot take from Alex there.
Yeah, that's a pretty hot take, and I think this card just gets even
a
stronger.
Card you already dropped at 6 for free, like.
Yeah, especially if it's an ECL character too, right? That you drop and just drop them really quick and then just pull them back and play them again. This card has a lot of potential, especially when we start getting more and more packs that help us boost the yellow aspect.
So my question is will there be enough stuff that we could play Lando as a double yellow, or is it not going to be enough to not have another color? Because could you imagine this with like Lando? Like this solves a little bit of. I think this helps a little bit with Lando having to burn resources and things like that. Because I don't know, like again, out of all the other, like we don't have all the characters out there, but I don't think this would be a good Mando card. I just don't see Mando double yellow being viable. I don't think there's enough yellow Mandalorian stuff and neutral Mandalorian stuff yet. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, but.
Yeah, I mean, they do have the Mandalorian Warrior, which is like the neutral Mandalorian 3/3, which is okay.
I mean, still, even if you're paying a penalty for the double aspects, I mean, it's still a card that's worth playing, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and it would, like, if you are burning your own resources with Lando, that so much so you don't have 6 to play anything anymore, you can use a new adventure. But I like this a lot. And I like the artwork too.
Yeah, I do too. So, all right, let's move on to another card. We don't want to spend all night on one card, even if it is amazing. What's the next card, Alex? Which one do you want?
Oh, I gotta go with Kylo's Silencer.
There you go.
I mean, good old X-Wing staple. I sent that to Cody. I'm just like, you could run 3 of these in attack, right? You got a good old triple Silencer. Yeah, so it is a 2-cost red-black. It is 3 power, 2 health. And as an action, if this unit is discarded from your hand or deck this phase, if it was, you can play it from your discard pile, paying its cost. But also it's a 3/2 for 2, which is really good. And also you can play it out of your discard pile because you are playing Kylo and you discarded it from your hand to give a unit +2/+0, and then you're just like, never mind, I want it back anyways. And I'm really hoping this is like the giant
the big silencer.
Yeah,
I know. Do you want to like take one of them with you, right? Like, do you want to take one of the big silencers with you and be like, hey, here you go, everyone. Like, boom, this is my token for it. I just love this card because and this is what's going to drive me nuts. It says action if this unit was discarded from your hand or deck this phase. Play it from the discard pile, right? So you could discard this card at any time if that's what you want to do and just play it, right? Like,
well, you have to
they're that
have
phase.
something to cause you to discard it.
Sure.
Because you can't just willy-nilly discard cards, but
Nah, well, you can force through your own damn shit.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Force throw your silencer and then bring it back out.
Yeah. Like, I'm just going to throw it at you. Here you go.
it is worth noting, it is a legendary, though.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is crazy. I wonder if they're gonna have a standard like tie silencer, like there's a regular tie advance.
No.
I mean, like for future decks, it'll be nice. It's just sad to me that the tie silencer could be taken out by an A-wing.
Hey, capital ships were taken out by A-wings, okay?
Yeah,
That's
come on,
true.
man.
That's
But
true.
yeah, no, I mean, I think silencers are only well known because of X-Wing. Like, it's only known in the X-Wing group. Like, no one knows what a silencer is, right? You didn't even fly that in the last movies.
Yeah, if you think about it too, like, this is a great turn one play too, if you need to. Like, if you have initiative and you want to play this, it's not as, you don't get a shield like you do with some of the other stuff, but for red, this is a really good, like, this takes out an A-wing, right? Like, I get your point, JJ, like, it doesn't trade well with some other things, but this is a direct, like, if I'm running red and I'm playing Sabine, I no longer have to just put out a field or, a ground unit. I can now use this as a space unit, and I now have choices. I feel like I have choices again. And because it hits at 3, it could take out anything that somebody plays on turn 1, the next turn, as long as you have initiative. I don't think there's anything else that they could play unless they shield something. Right? I guess Luke can shield something. So whatever. What is it? But there is no 1-cost ships that you could play. There you go. So no, I think the answer is this could take out any ship you could play turn 1 by itself. And that's like in a control style matter of fact, this is great. Like, I'll trade my 2 points for your 2 points, so you have nothing to play, for that round. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's very flexible, and that usually means the cards are really good if they're very flexible.
Yeah,
I'm
and
excited for it. And the art's cool.
Okay, sorry, I gotta go back. I just love this ship so much too. Think about it. You can kill something, right? And then it goes to your discard pile.
It wasn't discarded.
So even if it's defeated, it doesn't get discarded?
It's not discarded.
Oh,
no.
okay, all right. Well, that kills that theory.
And that's also not your hand or deck.
All right. Never mind. Ignore that comment. Let's move on to the next ship. JJ, what is the next one?
So finally, we get some Andor content. So we get a 2-cost rickety quad jumper with 1 attack and 3 defense. It comes with the ability, on attack, you may reveal the top card of your deck. If it's not a unit, give an experience token to another unit, leaving the revealed card on top of your deck there. Definitely a really great support card, I think, to come in there. Very cheap. This is a card that you can play on turn 1 there, especially if you have like an event heavy or gambit heavy deck. I like to do that with Iden a lot, actually. So I would definitely include it in there, and I think this could definitely help buff like later on if you have other units in play to have those units just be really strong in the beginning.
There was a quad jumper in Andor.
Yeah.
Yes. When they
made it.
Spoiler alert to anybody who hasn't seen it. Yeah,
It was already in episode 7.
That's true, but it got blown up there. But in Andor, they actually get to fly it, and it is rickety. It was like a junker quad jumper that they escaped in. So yeah,
it's a quad jumper. It's a space tugboat. I love this thing. Okay, this card doesn't look good, like at all. But I love quad jumpers. They're one of my favorite ships to fly at X-Wing, and therefore I love this card. I need 3 hyperfoils.
All right, if I get hyperfoils, I will happily trade them to you.
Probably the 75 cents they're worth.
I don't know. Some of those hyperfoil commons are actually worth a couple of bucks.
Yeah, because they're good.
All right.
Okay, no, it's okay. So this is like at a conflict with itself, right? Because if you have a lot of like event and upgrades and stuff in your deck, you don't have a lot of units. So what are you going to give the experience to, right?
True.
And it's on attack, not like when played. So like you still have to keep it around. I don't know. I love quad jumpers. I somehow have a Lego set of a quad jumper. I don't remember where I got that from. But
that's great.
I'm not sure about this card.
Yeah, I agree with you. Unless we get something that works with it, I don't think it's a good card. That's just my opinion too. I probably wouldn't include that in most decks. So, but again, we don't know all the other card pools. Maybe it's good. I guess I
But
don't
it's
know.
like a deck building thing, right? Like if you have a
Maybe-
lot of not units, what are you giving experience? What units are you giving experience to?
Nothing. I don't know. I have no idea. All right, let's go on to the next set. I'm going to take Kira playing her role. She is a 4. She is a rare. She is a 3/5 underworld only trait. When played, look at an opponent's hand, then name a card. While this unit is in play, each card with that name costs 3 more for your opponent to play. I will tell you that I don't think this is insanely amazing, but I think this is hilarious, and I love this card because I just like that like regional governor feel. I like that. I also found out this weekend that when you play against Dalmico, who like nobody likes to play except for this one guy, I guess, it can really screw up your game to kill things. So can you imagine her pulling this and then naming any 4 like you just get to name whatever you want and then you have to kill her before you play it. So
You know what it like the name doesn't include the subtitle, right? So if you call
Yes.
like a Millennium Falcon, you
Yes, it's
block
both.
2 sets of Falcons.
or a like well, I guess we only have one
I
Vader
think that's the
unit,
only
though.
one
Yeah.
so far. But
So
go on.
So I was gonna say I don't remember off the top of my head, but are there any hero aspect cards that are like the probe droids for Empire, where you get to look at your opponent's hand, but hero
Spark-
aspect or at least neutral?
Spark of the Rebellion.
It's basically just
Just Spark?
Spark. Yeah.
Just Spark, yeah, okay.
But like you look at your opponent's hand first and then you say a card, so like you just name something they have, right? Unless you're just like, no, I'm going against Green Luke. I'm going to name Luke regardless of what they have in their hand.
Yeah, I just don't want them to play
'Cause
that.
no one's going to play Luke for 10.
Yeah.
I think she's cool. She is yellow white, so it's hero.
Mhm.
Sure, but yeah, I mean 3/5 is like decent body, I guess. It's a 4 cost, but like the effect's really powerful.
I'm
So
kinda
imagine when she goes down to like 1 health, then you could a new adventure her, play her for free, name a different card.
I know, because then your opponent discards their card. Stop it, Alex.
Yeah.
Stop it.
And,
You're
you know,
you're
Spark-
making an argument for a double yellow Han deck. You're trying to talk me into this. Is what you're doing.
but Lando. Let's play Lando instead. He's a
No, I
cheaper
got-
yellow.
I have a Han showcase though. I don't have a Lando showcase.
But you love Smoggle, and you
I
get that
do,
with
I-
Lando.
Yeah, I actually do like Smuggle. All right, let's move on. What's the next choice? JJ, I'll give you the next choice. How about that?
All right, awesome. So the next one here, I have to cover the Concord Dawn Interceptors. I like this, the artwork a lot here. However, that being said, this one here is a 3-cost blue and hero aspect card that has a 1 attack for defense on this one here. That comes with Sentinel and it reads well. This unit is defending. It gets +2 attack for this one here. Probably another prime candidate for Ray to include as well, because you can actually do it twice if you needed to, because the first time you do it will bring it to 2 attack. Second time we'll bring it up to 3, so you can do it up to that. It is a very cheap Sentinel unit for space. That's essentially a 3/4 if you don't if you let it attack last after all the other space units on your opponent's side. On offense though, it's pretty lackluster, so this is just basically there just to be that wall. Definitely will benefit from having that Mandalorian keyword on there with all the Mandalorian tech that's coming in this wave. So yeah, looking to see how this will integrate in some of those Mando decks.
They obviously are building what we talked about last week, right? We talked about keyword and
Yeah.
we talked about like specific like leader asset. This is designed for. They're telling us we really need to have a yellow blue or a red blue deck. That's what they're telling us.
You can have both Fang Fighters if you run both.
Well, yeah. Why are these called interceptors? They're not interceptors, right? This
Well,
is not.
I don't remember exactly because they were like Concord Dawn Protectorates.
That's what I
Or just
thought.
Protectorate Starfighters in X-Wing First Edition.
Based on their dial, I guess they could be interceptors, and
Oh my
they could
God.
reposition.
I mean, they are meant to like intercept other ships, right?
But they're not interceptor.
They want to go fast.
They aren't.
Yeah.
I don't think they're. I don't know.
They're only good at range 1.
Somebody do a bloody fact check here. Somebody figure out why they're called. Let's move on. Alex, do you want the other one, or do you want one for the next page?
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
So the Slaver's Freighter, a generic YV666. It's a 4/5 for 5 yellow-black aspect. When played, you may ready another unit with power equal or less than the number of upgrades on enemy units. Man, I guess if like you need a sideboard card because all of a sudden your opponent's just dumping upgrades everywhere.
I still think this is a good card for a 5-cost space unit, though. It's a 4/5.
Yeah, I mean, the Gladiator Star Destroyer is 5/6 for 6, so I guess that sort of tracks. Sort of. Yeah, I mean, it seems okay. Again, it's like a sideboard piece to me. I don't think, unless like your meta is just nothing but upgrades, like you want to main deck it.
If we get a bunch of turrets running around here, right? There we go. Get a bunch of turrets. We'll just do this. And how about this? It's because it's based on the number of upgrades on enemy units. So you got to remember this also is shields and experience token, right? So like, I mean, there is a world that like we play against people that do shields and experience tokens. I mean, I played a Boba deck today, right? And there was we put 2 7th Fleet Defenders out. That's 2 shields. I can now ready 2 units. I don't know. Like, I feel that this is a pretty decent card.
You ready a unit with 2 or less power. It's not number of units. It is just a unit with power equal less.
You may ready another unit with equal less power.
Yeah, so like if they have like 4 upgrades, you get to ready a unit
I
with
see.
4
Okay,
power
never mind.
or less.
All right, I thought this upgraded or like readied multiple units. I see. It only readied 1. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back to the it's a meh card.
It's an okay sideboard piece.
Yeah, definitely very dependent on what your opponent is running. Yeah.
I hope we get a Houndstooth.
That would be cool. I'd like a house. All right. We're going to switch the lineup up. JJ, what do you want to grab?
Yeah, I got to cover Mr. Oscar Isaacs himself, Poe Dameron, coming here with the red and hero aspect. It's a 5 cost with 6 attack, 6 health, and he reads on attack, discard up to 3 cards from your hand. For each card discarded this way, choose a different option. Deal 2 damage to a unit or a base, defeat an upgrade, or an opponent discards a card from their hand. Feels like this goes really well with Kylo for some reason. That's really weird, especially with Black One, right? But yeah, I think this is definitely really good, right? Because you get to do essentially 3 of these options. You could do 3 of them at a time. You can continuously do essentially 6 damage to a base or to a unit. Just playing this once, or have your opponent discard 3 cards from their hand.
Wait. You have to choose a different option, JJ.
Yeah, you can't discard
it has
3
to be a
cards.
different option.
No.
My bad. Yeah. Okay, so it's a lot less powerful, definitely. Sorry. But yeah, I mean, dealing 2 damage right off the bat when you play this and defeating an upgrade, which could be like an experience or a shield, and then having an opponent discard a card from their hand, probably not the best option there, but there's definitely different calls that you can make, just depending on the situation with this here. Too bad he's not a yellow aspect, because I could definitely use this with the new adventure card, but there's no way you're going to be able to run that with this. So
I mean, you play
unless you're paying the extra.
Yeah, you just play a new adventure for 4. Like, I think that's just we already had that conversation. I think that still is worth it.
Yeah.
So this is legendary too, by the way.
Yeah.
I think this is okay. I will first say I don't understand what the artwork is. It looks like there was a Nintendo NES game that like we had Poe Danner, and then like it kind of like stopped and like blurred at the bottom like we used to get with what was that?
He's flying like the sand skiff.
What was that?
Yeah, this is Rise of Skywalker.
They can fly now.
I don't
they
know.
can
This
fly
is
now.
the artwork on this is dumb. I'm sorry. Like this I do not like the artwork at all. But this card is really good. Like I think this is a really good card for a 5-drop, and I guess it should be, right, because it's a legendary. I guess that's like their theory behind it. But like I don't know. You could ECL this thing out too, right? And then you could deal 2 damage to a unit, to a base. So this thing can come in and ECL and kill an 8 health unit. Just have a nice time. It's
You
weird.
gotta ride it like a bantha.
You ride it like a bantha. Jesus. All right, let's keep moving. It's not what I was thinking, but
oh no, I think this card's nuts. One is 6/6 body on a 5 is good. And black one comes out for 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Poe's a 5, and he's got an untack. So you untack, dump 3 cards. It's not your black one. Down to probably your just black one. Do all those options. Play black one, draw 3 cards.
Yep.
Seems nice. I mean, and also, like, your opponent discarding a card, like, and destruction is kind of a thing in red. And that just adds more to it, because, like, you got K2SO. You could force throw. You have Poe. And then you got, like, a couple of the event cards. That
you can sneak it. You can sneak attack him in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's even
for 4.
Like holy crap!
Yeah,
no, he doesn't get sneak attacked in for 4. He gets sneak attacked in. Oh, I see. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Paying 4 total.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, like I think he's kind of silly, and if you have red Han. I mean, you don't generally want to discard your cards out for Han, but it gives you another incentive to play black one and also drop Poe Dameron on like turn 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
No, because he wouldn't have resupply. So, you can
I don't know.
Turn 3.
I think this is a really good card, though. I think there's going to be a lot of gimmicky. This is like, let's play gimmick. This is a gimmick card.
I mean, at the very worst, he's a 6/6 body for 5.
Yep, true. All right, Alex, what's your choice?
I know which one you're going to do, so I'll just take the Nema Outpost Constables.
You can have the other one. It's fine.
Nah, it's fine. So, it's a 4 cost, just blue card, 2/6 with Sentinel. That's it. It's fringe, common. I'm pretty sure that's Constable Zuvio on there. Would make sense. So, he belongs on a quad jumper. No, I mean, 2/6 for 4 Sentinel is kind of annoying. And also another target for Ray. Yeah, it seems not like an incredible card, but not a bad card. Like, you can build things with this, would be very useful. Even in like I don't know, like Grand Inquisitor, if you're running like a blue Grand Inquisitor deck, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can still ready them and like have enough health that the Sentinel is not irrelevant.
And you could put upgrades on this stupid thing, right? Like, I mean, what's that? Electro. So you could put Electro Staff on this with Grand Inquisitor. I don't know. Like this card, to me, this card is going to be better in draft, but this card is really good too. Like, I still think that this card is really good for 4 costs. This is
very
really good
in draft.
Yeah. Don't pass it, folks. If you're running in blue, don't pass this up in draft. We'll do a draft episode. We'll do a draft episode when we get the new set. I think. Maybe we'll do it before the new set. Man, we have so many episodes that I have planned to do. Like, this is ridiculous. All right, let's go to the next one. Give into your anger. I do that. I love this card. I will say, I don't know. The artwork's a little weird. Like, it's very different, I guess I would say, on this. I'm not opposed to it. I do think that this card actually might look really good as a hyperspace card. So I will be collecting these. It is a rare. It's a 1 cost, red, black. Deal 1 damage to an enemy unit. Its controller's next action this phase must be an attack action with that specific unit if they're able to. It must attack a unit if able. So if you have a unit out that you have, like, that doesn't have Sentinel, you made something to Sentinel. That's just what you did. You said, hey, I'm going to put a damage on you and then make you Sentinel so that you die quicker. this card's crazy. But for 1 cost too. This is like I don't know. I will 100% play the hell out of this card. Like, this card's great. Like, this card in Pelp is just like, hey, screw you. You're going to do what I want you to do. I'm going to tell you what I want you to do today. That's what this card is saying.
Well, it is giving in into your anger.
I guess. Like, this, I don't know. So far, like, I won't say this is my favorite card of the set, but this card, like, hands down, I think this event specifically. I mean, and this, I don't know. This is, you don't even have to play that. You can literally just say you can use this as anti-upgrade tech, right? Like, somebody has a card, like I don't know, there you go, Nemi Outpost Constables. You can sit there and put a damage on it and tell it has to now attack. So it now has to attack, whether it goes to a base or not. You can tell it has to attack, so you can't just add upgrades to thing.
If your opponent played turn 1 Alliance Dispatcher and gave it a shield with Luke, you can play Give Your Anger. It just loses its shield, and you have to attack with that.
Yeah,
so 1/2 ain't gonna kill anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And it makes it so you can't. I mean, just other units that have abilities on them that like aren't attacking. Like, if you put this and you play it against like a crosshair that they didn't want to shoot yet, that they're like charging up, just make a prematurely shoot. Super fun.
Or you brought your Kylo leader to the table. Let me. Oh, you got 4 cards in your hand. Let me put a damage on Kylo and make you attack. There you go. Like, oh, there goes your Kylo. Bye bye.
I think this gets really strong too when you start making decks that are very grit heavy. You start, targeting units that only have 1 attack, and that just makes your grit units even more stronger. I think that's such a great way to really abuse that card.
Okay, all right.
And even just like a 1 damage ping out of hand is not too bad, because sometimes you just don't kill people by 1 health.
Yeah. Well, and what it helps is again, if you think about it, when one of the things that I looked at, when we're on that Boba Mono yellow deck, right? Like, you run Swoop Racer specifically because it does that 4 damage versus the 3. You only have 3 health. You're gonna die anyway. But like something like this, like, you can attack a Boba unit, and then a Boba unit now has to attack something that's not exhausted and can't do its stupid on attack thing, and it's also only 4 health, and it probably just, I don't know. It's this card just has so many applications. I don't even understand how they thought this was a good idea for 1 cost. I really do not think that this is a 1 cost card, personally. And maybe we're just gonna get so many good cards that it doesn't matter. Like, this will just be like in the muck of things. But so folks, we so if you listen to our podcast, we've done this with X-Wing. We're gonna have a favorites. We will have a 100%. We will do this before set 2 drops. What we think is going to be most impactful. What is our favorite cards of the set? What we hope for, blah, 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 all of that fancy stuff. What we feel are duds. That way you can rate us against, what happens in the metas. And then you could be like, oh, well, Tanner kept saying that stupid bring Palpatine back from the dead card was really good. And look, nobody plays it. That type of thing. Don't tell me. And anyway, I think this card made my list right here. Just this specific card is for 1 cost. It's just nuts. I mean, okay. I'm sorry. I just can't get enough of this, because I could play a 2/3, use this card, and all of a sudden now anything that only does 2 damage can then it kills whatever is coming back at it. I don't know.
I mean, you can do it to Grogu, who has 0 attack.
You could do it to Grogu. That's true.
And then can't exhaust someone.
Oh, yep. Okay.
Or Werner Herzog, right? He can, you're not putting a bounty on if he's forced to attack people. And you remove his shield.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, I really genuinely think that's that is so far, that's up there. I like the Palpatine card, the one that says I'm not here. I'm no longer don't look at me, folks. But this card really, oh my God, like, for 1 cost, it's just, if you didn't want to run villain red, you sure as hell do now. Can you imagine Boss? Oh, all right. Let's move on, because I'm just gonna wax poetic about that card.
Just a casual Bosk doing 3 damage to people, and then the other guy's forced to attack. It's fine.
Yep. Alex, you can have first for this set. What do you want? Which one tickles your fancy?
You know what? We'll go with the Delphi Patrol Wing. Why not? It's a green-white 4/6 for 5 space unit. New Republic space unit too, which
Yep.
that's a keyword, or that's a
New
trait.
keyword. Yep.
When played, you may attack with a unit. If you have the initiative, it gets +2/+0 for this attack. So it's not like a shoot first, but I guess like a surprise strike on a body, right? A 4/6 body for space, and a 4/6 for 5 is not bad in space, especially.
Wait a minute. Hold on. 4/5.
4/6.
4/6 is okay because it has
4/6
one
for
more
5.
health. All right. I'm just checking you here a little bit. I'm saying.
Yeah, but this one you get to attack with a unit and then also give it +2.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, like this makes me hopeful that we'll get to see cards like Trapper Wolf and stuff, that were part of that patrol wing that we saw in the Mando series. I would love to see like specific cards for them being space units.
Does it bother you is that they don't have the T70 like boosters on there, but it's a New Republic card? It's got the cylindrical T65 ones.
They could be early New Republic, I guess.
X-wing problems.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Every time I look at that, it's like that is slightly off.
Yeah, I think it's because they haven't got quite the new models. This was in the early stages, Alex. This was the early stages of the New Republic. This is before Leia was able to do a bunch of stuff in the Senate for it. All right,
Yeah, I just
JJ.
want to see a Zeb crew or Zeb pilot.
No.
He doesn't take crits,
He had one cameo at JJ. We're not getting no. All right. What's your favorite? You get the next choice. What's the next choice?
So, as much as I want to cover Bazine, I'm going to go with Coruscant Dissident. So this is a 3-cost yellow and hero aspect with 3 attack, 4 health. This one reads, on attack, you may ready a resource. I think this actually will see quite a bit of play. It's very cheap, helps you ready resources, which lets you play cards more often. This pairs very nicely with like Leia, for instance, the Leia unit, not the leader. Which allows you to play her and ready a resource as well, effectively making this card worth 2, which for this stat line is really, really good with 3 attack and 4 health. It's a cheap card to get out there that can definitely do some damage out there. I think we'll definitely see this as part of a staple for a lot of hero cards and a lot of yellow decks.
Yeah, I mean, the sequencing's a little bit weird because, like, you want to spend your resources and then attack with it to ready one, but, like, it's efficiency. That's always good. And it's also a Twi'lek trait. Look at that.
Yeah. So my question is like, I think this is really good, personally. I think this is a pretty good card. You're readying a resource. It's, like, to me, this feels really good. I don't know.
I mean, there's a 3/4 for 3, which is not bad.
It's basically like saying, let me give you one.
That line,
Yeah, and it's like Ezra's really good, right? Like Ezra lets you play the top card of your deck. Ezra's a 3 cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this one is just saying you just can't swing with her round 1, but it's just saying, hey, as long as you get to attack with her. I mean, and I know there's a lot that can mess with that, but I mean, I don't know. We talked about what the Sentinel thing was earlier, like oh,
she
here's
can give in to anger, and then
I
not ready a resource.
Yeah.
All right, stop it.
I was gonna say,
stop making that card
it
better.
This actually makes a case too for having snapshot reflexes too, right? Because it allows you to attack when you attach it. So you can deploy it and then attach snapshot reflexes. It gets a +1/+1.
No, you can. No, you cannot. It's when you deploy it, it's not ready.
You're right. It's not ready. But when you add snapshot reflexes,
it doesn't
allow you to perform attack, right?
No, it doesn't make it ready. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I misread that.
It does let you.
My apologies to the people I've cheated. Then
it does let you essentially play it for free. Snapshot reflexes. If that's like your first play of the game, you essentially play it for free.
Yes.
The 4/5.
Yes. I also think she's pretty good on ECL with ECL too. She's a good ECL target because you play her. You could ready your resources. Again, it's probably not as good on the second turn, but on the third turn, you play her. When you ECL out, she attacks, you get one of your resources. So you're playing her for 2, right?
I don't know what I guess I'm just trying to think of a leader that would be yellow and green that you'd want to run this in.
Boba.
He's a hero. Oh.
Yes, she's a hero too.
Yeah, she doesn't have any keywords. And you're not going to do like a mono green Boba because Boba's green in hero.
I'm going to run green yellow Boba. I'm going to run a green yellow
right,
Boba.
But then you don't get ECL.
Oh,
because
you're
Boba's
right.
green. Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
All right. Han. There you go. Stop it. I'm going to do it in Han. We're going back to Han, baby.
Honestly,
we're going back
Lando
to Han.
might be the best spot for it.
Yeah. Probably built to be with Orlando. Because then you can use your resource twice before you burn it.
Yeah.
All right. Last card we have is Bazine. That's the last card. Oh, no. We have one more card. We have Bazine Nuttall. He is an underworld spy for the First Order. I am not super a fan of the artwork, personally. But whatever. She looks like
spot on.
She looks like she's from Dungeons and Dragons. That's what this reminds me of. Like
she's very Monty Python Holy Grail looking.
Or maybe this is a Stephen King like reference. I don't know. Like this, it's weird. She's got black fingers too. Whatever. When played, look at an opponent's hand. You may discard one of those cards. If you do, that player draws a card. It has the keyword smuggle. It's a rare.
For 4.
Yep. I like that I could discard a card, but I don't like that they get to draw a card. And she doesn't do much. Like I don't know. She's like ISB agent. That's what she's like. That's what this feels like, as an ISB agent, which I don't think is. I don't think is they're not horrible cards. They just, I don't know. I don't know if I like this. I don't think I like this card.
I mean, late game, it's really nice.
Sure.
Because I mean, you just drop in resources, right? And then anytime you're just like, my opponent's a little bit low on cards, or man, it's hitting turn 8 and I'm playing against like Iden, I should probably smuggle her out, see if they got the super laser blast and dump it.
I guess I could see this in Boba too, right? You know, like this like that Boba yellow deck. I could have used this a little bit. It is more hand discard. I don't. It's okay. How about that? I'll just give it an okay rating.
I feel like it's one of those cards that you don't play early on, like a Piet. You just like
it's a resourcer
game. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a mid to late game card. Yeah.
All right, who wants the last one? We got one more. You rock paper scissors for it or something? I don't know.
Yeah, you
can
go for it.
I'll definitely do it. Now I feel like this card is incomplete because we need an equipment card for Migs to go with it. He needs that third little turbo or turret laser on his shoulder to be an equipment card. So he's a 2-cost red aspect mixed midfield with 2 attack, 2 health, and he reads, when a player discards a card from their hand, you may deal 2 damage to a unit or base. Use ability only once each round. So hey, we got a pairing here with Bazine. But still, it's really good. And I mean, it also affects yourself, right? Because you can choose to discard a card yourself, let's say with Kylo, right?
Yeah.
And then you could deal 2 damage to a unit or a base, and you can choose your enemy. So this is definitely really good, a really good pairing with Kylo. This is probably going to be a staple in that there, because you could just.
Well, can I ask why, thematically, why is this with Kylo? Like, this has nothing to do with Kylo.
It has
like,
nothing
I don't understand.
to do
like,
with Kylo.
This is a Mando card, for Christ's sake, you know? Like,
Yeah,
why can't this say... Why can't this say when a player discards a card, and then say when a player discards a Mandalorian card, give them the middle finger, and then deal 2 damage to a unit or base? Like, where's that wording?
Exactly.
I don't know. This is a good card. This is a really good card, too.
I think 2/2 body is not great. And, once per turn's pretty limiting. But it's pretty nice, especially if you have Kylo and like a Sentinel to kind of back it up so it doesn't just die immediately. You can make him give an anger though, if you wanted to.
All right. So you could play this with Kyle turn 1, right? And then you could discard a card with Kylo's action to boost this guy for no reason, just because you want to, and and put 2 damage on whatever the hell they put down.
Yeah, and then swing in for 4.
How are you going to swing in for 4? Well, that would be turn 3.
Well, turn 1 you play Migs. Turn 2 you dump a card for Kylo, and he's still ready.
I'm saying turn 1 you dump a card and then and then kill something and just do 2 damage to something. Oh, you put down a 2 health thing? See ya, have a nice time. I think this card's really good.
Yeah, I mean, we got to see a little bit more synergies with like the discarding, but it's a really good start. It is rare though, so that does kind of affect things a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was our
15 card spoiler.
Yeah, Galactic Gazette. It was a lot shorter than last week, my friend. That was last week. We were just like, man. I mean, we still went pretty long for that, but I think we got to get into I was actually gonna have a couple of different segments. I had another segment planned where I wanted to talk about like what our favorite card of this set is. Like what if we had like there's an under impactful card. We haven't even like I wanted to touch on like what's under impactful. Alex and I were talking a little bit before, and we had talked a little bit together about like how like I'm excited for set 2 and Alex is like, hey, like we haven't even really solved the meta for set 1 and there's so many other things and like I think there might be some discussion points where we could be talking a little bit about some of those things, right? Because right now we don't do that. Right now we haven't really done that. I mean, this is only our 7th episode doing Unlimited, right? So like we really haven't had a chance because FFG just wants to give us like a butt ton of spoilers, for things. But I think that maybe next week we'll add that as like a segment. Maybe we can do that next week and talk a little bit about underutilized or cards, maybe a couple of cards we feel could be better than what they're seeing play for maximum firepower. And I don't care what you say, it worked for me. And we can kind of go over some of that. But tonight we're gonna continue our academy training segment. So we are gonna do our academy training where we talk a little bit about different types of things. Right now, the segment that we're doing is a segment about archetypes. So are you guys ready for some academy training?
So just follow orders.
All right, welcome back to our academy training segment. Tonight we're going to be covering, continuing our coverage on archetypes. And I know maybe it's boring. Maybe it's boring. I don't know. I find it interesting. We started this during our X-Wing days. We started an Academy 101 segment, right? And I just feel like calling it Academy 101 because that's what we always called it. But this is our Academy training segment to differentiate.
It's a card.
It's a card versus, talking about like little ships. But the idea behind that segment was to kind of talk a little bit about things that, help people learn the game, how you can understand the game better. Because none of us are professionals. None of us have we're not topping like 5Ks here, right? We're not some insane podcast that just wants to do a bunch of like insane, crazy, competitive like discussions. So what I want to do is I want to help build community and help make players better players and help them feel better about like the decks that they're playing and how they play things. So that's kind of what our academy training segments kind of come from, right? Is how do we do that? So last week, you could check it out on our YouTube or on our podcast. Well, our YouTube is the best place to check out the smaller segments. But you could check out our YouTube and you could find our academy training, our very first episode, where we talk a little bit about deck archetypes, right? Inside of Star Wars Unlimited. We took some of the major types. We talked about future archetypes. And what I wanted to do is we're going to really quickly go over those. And I'm going to have Alex kind of go over the 4 main types that we identified last week. And then what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about each of the different decks coming up that we can talk about. How do they play? What do they do good against? What are they bad against? How to kind of play that type of a deck and how you should kind of build for it. So Alex, what are the archetypes that we have laid out in front of us?
Okay, so we have some decks that are, pretty typical examples of control, aggro, mid-range / like tempo. And then we have a couple in here. One's the closest, so we can kind of get to a combo deck so far. And another one's like essentially like a mill deck with, varying degrees of success. So we're just trying to mix it up in there. The first one we want to talk about, do you want to just do like aggro? Because that's like easy and straightforward.
We can, yep.
I know we're kind of jumping around a little bit, but I mean, aggro's definitely the easiest to understand. It is go fast, hit as hard as you can, and hopefully you beat your opponent before they can do anything about it.
It's like, and it's also right now it is actually the cheapest deck you can run.
Yeah. So we just gave a really easy KTOD example of green Sabine. You got a Sabine Energy Conversion Lab. Very straightforward. You got triple Metal Ceremony, double Rebel Assault, triple Spec Force Gunner, triple Battlefield Marine, triple Green Squadron A-Wing, triple Sabine Unit, triple X-Wing, triple Rebel Pathfinder, which might be a little bit outdated. You got triple Echo Base, triple Fighters for Freedom, triple Red 3, triple For a Cause I Believe in, triple Fleet Lieutenant, triple Wing Leader, triple K2SO, triple Steadfast Battalion, triple Guerrilla Attack Pod. It is the most consistent you can do. Is just a bunch of 3-offs and the 2-off Rebel Assault.
Yep. And I will say that this deck is a little out, just as an FYI. They have made some changes. There is some other changes to this deck. It has a bigger evolution. But we again, our goal is just to talk about the mechanics of the deck, right?
Yeah, I mean, it goes as fast as it can between, all the cheap units. And, you could stack your deck with 4 Calls I Believe in, try to put in what you need. And it's just all about base damage. Sabine comes out at 4, so it's super early. And you can ECL the Steadfast Battalion out. Give it +2/+2. Now it's a 7/7 with Overwhelm. Pretty much one-shots most leaders that you're going to encounter at that time. Again, it's just about going as wide as you can on the board and then just swinging in for as much as you can. And it does have a sideboard. The only notable thing is like Wolf and Heroic Sacrifice. Wolf stops bases healing the turn he's played and when he attacks. And then like Heroic Sacrifice for a little bit extra reach, give you +2/+0, but you die after you do that attack, which is great for like K2SO.
Mm-hmm.
Swing in for 6, die, and then do 3 more.
Yep. One of the other thing that's of note is this deck also has out of hand damage, right? The For a Cause I Believe in. If you look at it, anything that is essentially a rebel unit, which I think everything in this deck is a rebel unit.
It's a white unit, yeah. So it's everything in the deck
except for Steadfast.
Except for Steadfast, yeah.
Yep. And if you did side in Wolf or the Fang Fighter, hence why they're on the sideboard. But that's the idea behind this is like that you get out of hand because Sabine's native ability is I'm going to do a damage to a base. Sabine is not your fastest aggro deck though, like at all, because she has to take that extra turn to do the damage to the base. Whereas Leia doesn't take that turn, right? Leia can just activate her ability to activate extra units.
Leia gets the initiative more than Sabine, but Sabine is usually faster at burning things down. Especially if your opponent doesn't control if your opponent controls your units better, like against like Leia or something, Leia has a little bit harder time than Sabine.
Yeah. And this deck has, so we talked about consistency, right? If we go back up to our pillars here, right? It could create a lot of threats. It's got a tempo, right? It's a very aggressive tempo. You overwhelm your board and it's extremely repetitive to play, right? So that deck here specifically I'm going to be repetitive in how I play. I'm going to say I'm going to go, I'm going to play, my Red 3, which enhances a lot of the other units on the table. And then if you take out that unit, oh, by the way, I've just played a Spec Force Soldier and a Battlefield Marine for next turn. And like now you got more units that you got to deal with. Like the most common one to play for this deck is A-Wing turn 1, claim, and then be able to take that and use your Fleet Lieutenant to do 5 damage to base. Merry Christmas.
Or give it like a Wing Leader that's still 5 damage, but it's always going to be 5 damage now.
Yeah, true. Go ahead and give it a Wing Leader, and it goes beyond Force Choke too, right? So like that's another great play is if you're playing against a control deck and somebody wants to just like take your unit off the board. I will tell you how many times I play Pelp and you play that A-Wing, and if I feel you're going to do that, I'll just claim and throw an open fire at you and say, screw your stupid A-Wing. Now what do you want to play? Let's go.
Yeah. And it's got Metal Ceremony too for like the turn that Sabine comes out, makes her a little bit stronger and then puts her out of takedown range, which is really nice. It's just all gas the whole time. Just go just go and hit as hard as you can. The Spec Force Gunners are super nice just to remove a Sentinel that's just like sticking with you to bypass them straight into the base. Fighters for Freedom's more out of hand damage, so it just choose to try to burn down as fast as you can.
Yeah. So this is as close to a burn deck I think is what we have, minus maybe Sabine Red, which can be a little bit more burny. But Sabine Red has other issues. So I don't know. We won't talk about that. Sorry, Mike Rice. I know you were running that today, and I feel bad because my yellow boba just crushed that. Like, and I don't even know if it's supposed to crush it or not, but it really like it did. It was not good. But red Sabine technically does crush really hard, or can crush really hard, right? But it just has other issues that this specific green Sabine does not have. And we saw green Sabine as the primo aggro deck for the longest time. This is like this is what you run.
Really good for aggro.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I was about to say I can just do all the decks, make that fast and easy.
All right.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I mean, we're just talking, and then you guys can talk about it, right? The next one I think is the mid-range Luke deck. So I went with a Luke Green. Seems to be a pretty straightforward kind of tempo deck. They attempt to just play quality, efficient units on the turns you can play them, and then just try to swing and just gotta control enough that you can win, but not like a full-on control. You have a board, and you just win off efficiency. So this is just a pretty generic green Luke deck. It's got a triple Alliance Dispatcher, which is the best turn one you can do in this. Triple R2D2, triple Restored Arc, double Luke Lightsaber, triple Devotion, triple Battlefield Marine, double Yoda, one Akbar, triple Echo Base Defender, triple Resupply, triple Fleet Lieutenant, triple Wing Leader, triple Kanan, one Takedown, triple Bright Hope, triple Obi-Wan, triple Luke unit, double Ewing Reinforcement, one Redemption, and double Home One. And this is just, again, Alliance Dispatcher turn one is your best play because that allows you to play whatever you want for. It actually creates a crazier tempo. Play your on curve unit for one less, then you can give it a shield with Luke. And then that just kind of gets a little out of hand. And there's like enough restore in the deck that you can outlast things like aggro, which mid-range generally does pretty well against. So it's just, just heal and just swing in with efficiency.
So I have a question. I guess to me, I almost feel like resupply would be a sideboard. I don't know if I like resupply in the deck. Maybe it's just because of you, Alex. Maybe you're skewing my anti ramp piece of this, but I feel like that's like a wasted turn in this deck.
I agree, and generally it's kind of weird for a mid-range deck to have ramp. Okay, not like super weird because like Boba does it too, and that's a very notable example of a mid-range deck as well. Yeah, generally you want to like play unit on turn that it's meant to come out on. You want your Echo-based Defender on turn 2. Preferably with Alliance Dispatch, give it a shield. So it does feel wasted with a resupply. But ramp's not bad. In this deck, you can get Luke out a turn early, which gets really scary. Play your Obi-Wan earlier, Kanan a little bit earlier, and it's got 6 1-cost units. So if you put yourself ahead enough on tempo like that, by playing the resupply next turn, you could play like an Echo-based Defender and R2D2 instead of just a 3-cost unit. So,
for me, I would definitely agree with Chris about having, the resupply as a sideboard, mainly because it's really going to depend on what deck you're facing off against, right? Because there's some decks where resupply absolutely makes sense, especially if you're trying to get out Luke early in there. But the other card I will also put in there would be Luke's lightsaber as well, just to ensure that, if he gets damage early on, I can go in and restore all that damage that's on him there. But other than that, it's resupply is not something that's a must-stand to me for it. I get that if you're trying to ramp, it's pretty decent. My biggest thing with resupply is just when you play it, it comes in exhausted, right? Like you can't spend it that turn. But beyond that, for me, I find in the majority of the games that I have it, it's always a card that I'll just outright just resource right off the bat. because I much rather have a unit out on the board than waste a turn to just add a resource on there, unless my goal is specifically to get Luke out. So
Yeah, and again, tempo is really mostly just about trying to out efficiency your opponent. And with all the healing, like in this, between Devotion, Yoda, the arcs, yeah, I mean, I guess, and Akbar has it, but like, Luke unit, you have Home One, the Redemption can help you, heal off stuff. It outlasts most things, and it's just hard to just chew through, and they just beat you with efficiency, which is generally, the whole point of that, right?
Yeah, and I think the card they have, like that Devotion card, is really good with that Alliance Dispatcher shield. Like you could play that round 2, then all of a sudden, like you're not looking to swing with them, you're just looking to live longer, and it gives you a restore, so it forces somebody to actually kill it. Like now I got to figure out how to kill it, which if I'm Vader or Pelp, I don't care, right? Like if I'm Vader or Pelp, I'm just gonna pop shield and kill your unit. But I mean, at the exact same time, like it's still like, I don't know, it forces you to deal with it, so you otherwise you just have somebody that can restore and say. But I'll tell you what, you put that Devotion on Luke, oh my god, like late game, like now I got a 4 restore.
Or you put it on leader Luke, honestly, make him a 5/8, which is
Ugh.
a pain, and then he swings his hand and then keeps giving out the shields, and he's restoring 2 every time you swing.
Yeah,
yeah, that's really nasty.
You know what Pelp loves? Pelp loves when you play your Luke. I love it when you play Luke. I will figure out how to get a damage on your stupid Luke.
Pelp doesn't like it when you play leader Luke, though, with Devotion.
No, absolutely not.
That's the problem.
I can't do anything about that unless I entrench you. But I can't entrench you because I'm not running blue Pelp. So
yeah, so I mean, again, it's like just be efficient. You're going to outlast aggro, and then hopefully you can kill fast enough that control doesn't take you out. But like control kind of, especially I guess like this deck, it's still a little bit of a battle if like they're really really hard control because you heal, right? Like Boba Yellow doesn't really heal; he more controls through exhausting and just like out resource efficiency. So that's like a completely different style of play, but it's still like a tempo. So like they have like their advantages, like Boba, like green Boba might be better against like Leia and like other aggro decks, but it's going to be worse against control. This one is a little bit worse against aggro, but a lot better against like the control later on. So it's kind of like a give and take what kind of style of mid-range you want to do. And up next, I guess we'll go to the control style of deck. This one I did a just your kind of normal green Iden that was making the rounds for a little bit. So this one is just Iden and also ECL. This one has a triple Inferno 4, double Shore Trooper, double Snow Trooper Lieutenant, triple Viper Probe, triple Death Trooper, triple Power the Dark Side, 1 Make an Opening, triple Super Laser Tech, triple Star Viper, triple Resupply, double Cell Block Guard, triple Vigilance, double System Patrol Craft, double Takedown, double Gideon, double Vanquish, triple Overwhelming Barrage, 1 Dooku, triple Vader, double Reinforcement Walker, and double Avenger. In the sideboard, like it's you get double Devastator, double Relentless if you're going against other control. You got another Dooku, a couple Rooks. This one's like, I guess this specific one's a little bit less control-y than you might typically find, but it does have a lot of like out of hand ways of messing with your opponent, right? You got Power of the Dark Side, which just will straight kill one of their guys. Make an opening that -2/-2 could be very, very critical. Occasionally, it does have the resupply ramp, which is pretty good, and super laser attack. So you want to play it leans more towards endgame because it's control. And control does that naturally. So you get a lot of other cards out. Your vigilance, even if you're paying for 6, you just heal 5, make the game go longer. If you want, you can mill them. But Iden comes out on 6 as well for Vigilance play, and Vigilance gives a shield to any unit and not like a non-leader unit. So you can double up the shields on Iden, make her last a little bit longer, at least until they play takedown. You got a double takedown in there. Gideon, every time someone dies, he's just giving out experience, either to himself or someone else. You got triple overwhelming barrage, so when your units are still there, they're just hitting and blowing everything up. Double vanquish. Dooku will kill someone when he comes out. Vader's got ambush to kill things. Avenger actually kills things when he comes out and on attack. And the reinforcement walker is either card draw, which is really important for control, or healing, which is also really good for control.
And I think, it has the double ramp in there with the, super laser tech and the resupply, which again, I think if you're playing against aggro, you don't need it and you could just resource it, right? Like, it's not like it's big of an issue because I don't think it's eating up a million slots against an aggro deck that you need. I do think the Dooku is a little, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the Dooku in there personally. But that's just me. It's a one-off, and I also think the Snow Lieutenants are a little, I don't know. They're okay. They're not, I know what they're there for. They're there to kill a bigger thing. But if anybody knows how to play against it, you just, I don't know. Whatever. They're okay, I guess.
You ever experience I'm playing my Vader unit and I'm going to pull a Death Trooper out of my deck and do 2 damage to you, and then Vader in for 5 more and kill your leader Luke that you just played? Anything with 7 health just automatically dies to that.
Yes,
and
I have experienced that.
It's gross. It's very gross. Gosh.
Yeah, it's hard to account for something like that.
Yeah, but I just think the Snow Lieutenant, I don't know. I guess Snow Lieutenant, right, just allows you to attack with another unit, so then you could choose which one you want. Okay, I guess I can see the value.
It out too.
Yeah.
So you can start swinging in with 2 people with Vader and another person, Snow Trooper. So it actually has a fair amount of. It's just a lot of out of hand tricks, which is generally what you want for control. This is less hard control-y than other decks we'll see. This is more of a more mid-range leaning control. But it does attempt to control. You got the Viper probe to look at their hand. Inferno 4 kind of sifts through your deck a little bit. That Power of the Dark Side, if you start taking out their units and they bring out their leader and you're just choose one of your only leader units to die.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice. And there's a little bit of Sentinel. It's not as much as other attacks, but you have the double cell block and you got the double patrol craft just in case to try to stave off a little bit of aggression.
Yeah. And this deck is specifically saying, hey, let me let me control your deck with my units more or less than Sentinel. That's what it's saying. Which is fine. I mean, let's say it can ramp extremely hard. I don't know, the make an opening
Death Trooper and just swinging for 5 out of nowhere.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. And that make an opening, the only one of, just again, that feels like a little weird to just have just the one of in there, but you're probably not using that as much. Your turn 1 play most of the time is that Inferno 4. That's a pretty decent turn 1 play, or a Viper Probe droid, depending on who you're playing against. Those are 2 of the turn 1. That's the only other thing is the Season Shore Trooper is fine for turn 1, but it's only good if you have a Snow Lieutenant or you have something else that you can, bring in with it. So, all right, JJ, did you have anything about this? Anything that caught your eye? I like the sideboard rooks though. Those are I love that guy.
Yeah, and
that's exactly what I was going to say.
Really good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The sideboard on here definitely provides this deck a lot of flexibility depending on what type of list you're going against there. Just having those options on there can be really well, especially adding in an additional Dooku on there, or having the other ISD on there. I can't read it off the top of my head, but that one can be really, really devastating, especially in the deck here that can ramp up to get those resources really quick. Having full control of the space area there. I mean, you just bypass anything that your opponent is likely not going to be prepared for on the space end there. And you can pretty much end the game within 2 turns once you get those ISDs up there, so they can be a really, really big force to end the game really quickly. So it gives you that flexibility to adapt to what you need to.
JJ, did you know that shielded and an ECL trigger at the same time? So you can actually swing in with Rook and then put him a shield, give him a shield.
No, I did not know that. Oh my
Yeah,
god,
so
that's
it's
so
not a
good.
very common thing, but you can do it with ECL.
That's so good. Oh,
So you can
man.
take care of their problem stuff. If they
Yeah.
if they have more than like 6 attack, you just swing in, lose the shield. But if they don't, you can just kill whatever they have in the way, probably a sentinel unit, and then just drop the shield on him, and now he's even more of a pain to kill.
Oh, it's so good. So good.
But also having like the relentless in the side, right, helps against other control mirrors because it blanks their first event. And generally towards the late game, you're not just having a handful of events.
That is true. Why don't we move on to the last one that we have, or not the last one? I apologize. We actually have two more.
Last.
We decided to throw a hard control in. So let's go. Let's do our hard control one.
Yeah,
Alex,
yeah. So we're going to transition over to another Iden deck. This one's blue Iden. It is like hard control / also mill, which is exciting, I guess. So I know this is like Taylor's favorite deck here, right? So we got
Pelt's my
restock.
favorite deck. Come on, I like Pelt a lot.
Double restock, which actually prevents you from getting milled out yourself, because the restock goes to the discard pile first, and you can just throw it back in your deck with the other 3 cards.
Okay,
And
cool.
also just give you more of what you needed from the discard.
Okay,
Yeah.
There you go. I say like it's more for not the mirror. It's more for the 4 cost search your feelings, so that when you play your vigilance, I can now bring vigilance back again.
No, I know.
Okay,
it's really both, but yeah. So you got double restock, triple Inferno 4, triple entrenched, triple 6 cost Spark of the Rebellion, triple Viper Pro, triple Death Trooper, triple Power of the Dark Side, triple I Am Your Father, triple Lieutenant Child Sin, which is very good in this deck, triple Search Your Feelings, triple Vigilance, which you pay for 4 this time because you're double blue, triple System Patrol Craft, triple Takedown, triple Vanquish, triple Cargo Juggernaut, triple Super Laser Blast, triple Avenger. And then you got a sideboard of a couple Dooku and a couple Bounty Hunter crew, which you are paying 8 for, but it gives you event back in your hand from your discard. And triple Make an Opening, triple Devotion. So this is like incredibly hard control. Like this is designed to, hey, you drop someone, I'm either going to kill it, I'm going to make it not attack my base with Entrenched, or that's funny because I have a 6/6 Child Sin waiting with Sentinel, And the I Am Your Father is basically a draw 3, except for every time I play against this deck, I'm just like, oh, okay, well, I guess Luke unit's dead. Because I'm not letting this deck draw 3, because that's not what you want to do in a control matchup. Because drawing 3 more is just 3 different answers to whatever you have on the board. It sucks that you just straight die with 7 damage, but you kind of have to. And if you wanted to do this, which this does occasionally, you can just mill people with the Vigilance, because you can recur it with Restock and Search Your Feelings. And just dump 6 off the top, dump 6 off the top, dump another 6 off the top. Like I've had someone mill me for 24 in a game, which is, half your deck. I still won, but it's not fun. And especially if you're playing like a control deck yourself, or like a dual box deck like Red Pelt that we have, dumping 6 off the top can kind of be disastrous occasionally.
Yeah. Oops. There goes 2 Palpatines. Thank you. Yeah, that's the last thing I wanted you to kill.
Both my Devastators against hard control. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean,
that perfect hand you had to kill me. Yeah, it's gone now.
Yeah, and like triple Super Laser Blast, like it's gonna come, so you can't load up your board against this too much.
No, the best play is Bodhi, like against that. And Spark of the Rebellion is just like, screw you. I'm going to take your Super Laser Blast and get rid of it until they find their restock. And then you're like, Oh, that was a sad day. I've played this deck. I have not won every time when I played this deck, but I have played this deck, and like I feel like so this is I played a lot of mill in Destiny, so this is mill. This is like as close to a mill deck as we have right now, and I don't think this deck actually gets worse with set 2. I actually think this deck gets a little bit better. Though they do have heavier hitting units in set 2, so I don't know. We'll see if it can really hold up to some of those units. But I will tell you, like, the most ineffective card is that stupid System Patrol Clef. That's like the only card, like, when I play that card, I don't, like, oh, I played something I don't really care about, but it does stop you, but I just don't care.
It's really good against A-Wings, let me tell you.
Oh, it is, yeah. Oh, your A-Wing wants to... Oh, nope, your A-Wing's not going to do anything.
Your A-Wing just ran into me, or even better yet, I have initiative, and I just swing into your A-Wing, and now I take one. I eat the other A-Wing on the way out.
The worst feeling
So good.
is when you're on your turn 5 with your boba, and you Bodhi, and you look in their hand, and they have an I Am Your Father, a Power of the Dark Side, and a Vigilance, and you're like, oh, F me. Like, what one do you get rid of? If you don't get rid of the I Am Your Father, they kill your Boba Fett. Like, they're literally going to do nothing until your Boba Fett comes out. And if you don't play it, they're going to wait one turn and go, oh, thanks for the free resource. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I think we need to talk a little bit more about hard control and counters to it, because I think there are counters to this, but I don't think the counters are as much as what we think they are, especially because if they feel that you are threatening, they'll just go directly to that mill and heal option. Just like boom, I'm going to heal 5, mill 6, heal 5, mill 6. And they will focus so much so on that they don't even care about their end game. And so, like, that's why this deck has become decently, like, pretty good, because of the fact that they can switch their tactic from I'm going to play an Avenger end game or a Childson end game to I'm just going to mill you and say, Can you kill me faster? You better you're on a time clock, and I'm going to super laser blast you the day you get more than 3 units on that table. They're gone.
Yeah, I mean, and like other than the Vigilance too, like the Cargo Juggernaut heals you 4 if you have another blue unit.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yeah,
they usually do.
Yeah, I mean, and just like the triple takedown, triple Power of the Dark Side, triple Vanquish, triple I'm Your Father. That's just wiping everything out. So, I mean, that's why we want to go over, right? It's both mill, which is kind of hard to do, but like definitely an avenue that exists in this game, and just like really, really hard control. Like I'm not playing units control, as opposed to the other one, the Green Iden, which has units as well as some control elements to like make those units go through.
Yes, and if you are on Carabas and you see somebody called Optimus Prime,
Jesus,
make sure you play blue this deck against them. Just like you need to have this deck saved, just so that if you see like somebody that says no control, you immediately play this deck against them. I don't know what it is about this guy. He drives me like, I'm sorry. Like, I like, for the most part, I could be like decent with people, but man, like if you tell me blue has no port in this game and we should never have anything like this, like if this deck was so overpowered, it would be winning everything. Everybody would run this. Like, people ran Sabine, right? Sabine will like, and I don't feel Sabine's super overpowered. She has a few pieces that are a little bit overpowered, but like you could beat green Sabine, you could beat yellow Sabine, you could beat yellow Boba. But like, if this deck was the end all be all, that's all people would run. People would just buy the stuff and go run it, and we'd be playing constant mirror.
I've played actually a fair bit of games against like this deck and very similar style. I mean, they wouldn't have like the Spark, right? But like very similar style decks with my green Luke deck. And I don't think I've lost with that deck. It's just, there are some counters. Sometimes it just, well, they can't do any damage, and I'm just healing everything. And I'm a very reserved player, so I only have 3 or 4 units on there. So if they super laser blast, I just drop another 3. Like, it's just really, you have to be very patient. Like I'm sitting there with like 12 cards in my hand.
Yeah. Yeah, when I run Palp against it, I literally will play 1 or 2 units, and that's it. And then hope you can't kill them. Yeah, because otherwise, and you stop resourcing once you hit 10 resources at some point, because you're like, nope, I could play a Devastator. I'm not going to have 15 resources because the last thing I need is for me to have too many resource cards and not enough to play.
Yeah. And the last deck we want to go over is the closest we have to a combo deck in this game. It was making the rounds a little bit early on. It's called Casino Han. It's not great. I'm going to say it's very, very high rolly, which I guess is on point for Han. But I think most people have evolved past this style of Han and instead play a different green Han. But yes, this one is just Han and ECL because that's like everyone's deck. So you got triple R2D2, which lets you look at the top card when you play it, which is very important in this. You got triple Battlefield Marine. You got triple C3PO to call what's on your deck and also to look at it again so you know what it is. And those are very important combos, and that's very, very important to look at the top card of your deck for this. You got triple Echo Base Defender, double Star Viper, triple Ezra, again looking at the top card. Triple Millennium Falcon, triple You're My Only Hope, which is very good in this deck to play cards for cheaper because you know what's your top card of the deck. Triple Bright Hope, triple Don't Get Cocky, again dealing with the top card of your deck. Triple Chewbacca, and then I know this is going to blow JJ's mind. Triple Dooku, who would be played for 11 in this deck, which you don't do.
Love it.
Triple Dooku, triple Out of Aspect Luke unit, triple Out of Aspect Mace, triple Han, triple 97 Legion, and triple U-Wing Reinforcement. Why they have like triple Dooku, triple Luke, triple Mace is because U-Wing Reinforcement does not care about aspect penalties. So you can just drop Dooku for playing one U-Wing, drop the Luke, drop the Mace, drop the Han, drop the 97 Legion. And that is just kind of, again, super high rolly, right? Like that's what it is. But you're comboing that kind of stuff. You see what's on top of your deck. If it's one of the, 15 7 costing units, don't get cocky, just hits for 7, right? At 4 for a cost. The You're My Only Hope, knocking it down 5 resources lets you play, your U-Wing Reinforcement real early. At 5 resources, which is super easily doable by Han.
Yep. But this is when we talk about tool, this is not a toolbox at all. This is definitely just, this is a combo. This is, I have one combo that I want to get off and that's it. And I'm going to play it. I will tell you, I played this. This is insanely fun to play. Like, this is like, I play Arkham Horror, right? And my Arkham Horror style that I play mostly is green because it's like the Gambit-y like faction, and that's what I like to play in Arkham Horror. But there's less stakes involved. But like, I don't know. You could ask my son. There's like a lucky 21 where you gotta like pull tokens out of a bag, and then like you have to get to 21. If you go over, you fail, and you just basically wasted a bunch of resources. If you don't, you get a ton of resources. That's this deck right here. Like, this is like Merry Christmas to, like, oh, I'm gonna take a Luke, and by the way, you happen to kill one of my units, and now I'm gonna kill one of yours for free and play a Luke. Seems pretty good to me.
Honestly, I would like to see resupply added on as like sideboard, right? Because even if I take one less Dooku, one less Luke and stuff, like if I am able to just have that option for resupply and get some of those other cards from my discard back into my deck and possibly get them out again with 3PO and R2.
You mean restock, not resupply.
Restock.
Or sorry, restock. That's what I meant. Not resupply. Restock.
I mean, they're both legit. So.
Yeah, I think that would probably enhance the deck even further.
Yeah, I think this, like, technically You're My Only Hope does kind of work a little bit too with those higher cost ones. But my question is why are you running a 25 health base? Is that just so you can keep the board clean before you drop your big units?
I think it's because everyone thinks ECL is incredible and he just wants to run ECL. So he has the option of ambushing something out that's not good being ambushed out.
Like, I would never ambush an Ezra or an Echo-based Defender, or...
I mean, Ezra's probably your best bet, honestly, the ECL out in this, because, it has to be 6 or less, so, like, you're not... I mean, I guess you could do it with a Chewie, but you kind of don't want to. And, like, you don't do it with the Falcon because it already comes into play ready.
Yeah.
So... Yeah, honestly, it's because I think people just think that ECL. I mean, because this came out like maybe 2 months ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's just when people are really riding on the. Well, it's got an action. It's much better, even though you're not ECLing anything out in this deck. I mean, just like C3PO or R2D2 isn't, I guess, the worst. If you have like, you need to play the top card.
Sure. I will say like the only like whatever, we'll move on from the ECL. Like I would say like there's the counter aspects to some of this deck too. Like is it, you know what it wants to combo, you know what it wants to play. If you kill their R2 and their C3PO, they're forced to have to play that again. You might be able to do enough damage, just especially at 25 health base. You might just be able to do enough damage to be like, oh, I'm sorry, Churn, you happen to drop a Dooku. Oh no, I've got you at 4 health. I don't know. Like 30 health base would be insanely better, but I don't know. That your only hope though, just so you know, like that does work with some of these. Like it does actually work with them too, especially if you're lower on health. So maybe that's part of that combo idea, right?
I mean, I guess you do get to play for free, right? If you have 5 plus health. But yeah, this is like, it's so luck dependent, draw dependent, right? Like if you on your like turn 3, you're just like, cool, here's 2 of my Dookus. Great. Those are literally dead cards. I have to resource them. It's so high rolling. It's fun. And like, you got all these kind of crazy combos between R2D2, look at the top card of your deck, C3PO can draw it if you need it because you're calling it correctly. You got Don't Get Cocky, so you can kind of do out of hand 7 damage. It'd be 7th Legion in there at like 5 resources if you wanted to.
Yeah. You know what I need? I need my Ewok ambush, baby, so I can activate R2 and C3PO just like in Destiny. That's what I need. And guess who Bobby's team was actually one of the ones in Destiny that like was running that the droid deck in Destiny when it first came out. He was also the one that built the Ewok deck too, which was a burnt deck. So
well, he named this appropriately, trying to get 777s,
Yep, on Casino 7. All right, I like it. I don't know, like I like I said, I played this deck. I think it's fun, but it is very infuriating when it doesn't go off and you're just like,
which happens a lot more than it does work. No, I'm not gonna lie.
That was our Academy training for tonight, where we discuss all the different archetype decks, giving you some examples, how to play them, what to counter with, and kind of where to start with each one. With that being said, why don't we wrap the show up tonight? Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We will be back next week at 9 p.m. Eastern with episode 8 of our Unlimited podcast. And then we will be talking, obviously, more spoilers, probably, because it seems like they're going to give us spoilers like at least 10 cards a week, it seems. So we're going to be covering spoilers a lot. I'm going to start, we're going to talk a little bit about like an underutilized cards, things that you might want to use in each of the different aspects inside of your deck. So we're going to talk a little bit about underutilized cards, what we think they are, what the guys have been playing with, maybe some secret tech like Spark of the Rebellion that Tanner called a long time ago, and talk a little bit about what you could be playing in some of your different decks. With that being said, thank you all. Have a good night, and we'll see you on the flippity flop.
Have a good night,
Thanks for
everybody.
listening. Yeah.